Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something really crucial for any growing business.
Yeah, it's all about technology budgets, how to manage them effectively, and maybe more importantly, what can go wrong.
Exactly. We're digging into a really sharp blog post called Mastering Tech Budgets for Business Growth, and we'll pull in some related insights too.
And our goal here really is to unpack the key takeaways. We want to help you understand the common mistakes, sure, but also how smart companies are actually turning IT from, just a cost center.
Into something that actually drives growth, a competitive advantage.
That's the idea. Because the
That's
spending is just massive.
right. Global IT spending projected to hit, what, $5.74 trillion in 2025? It's almost hard to wrap your head around.
It really is. But here's the paradox. Despite all that money flowing in, a lot of growing businesses are, well, struggling. They're not confident they're getting value.
How bad is it?
Well, the source points out that nearly half, 48% of CFOs, they lack confidence in measuring the ROI from their cloud investments.
Almost half.
And it gets worse. Over a third say their cloud budgets are overrun by 40% or more.
40% over. That's not just a rounding error. That sounds like a serious leak.
It does, yeah. And the uncomfortable truth, as the blog puts it, is that many growing businesses just make these really fundamental mistakes, often without even realizing it.
Like what kind of mistakes?
One of the biggest is what they call the hidden cost of tech illiteracy.
And that's not just about like not knowing how to use Excel, right?
Oh, definitely not. No, it's more strategic. It's about not understanding the business impact of your tech choices or, the choices you don't make.
Okay. So how does that play out?
Well, think about this. CIOs report that somewhere between 10 and 20% of the money set aside for new product development
Yeah.
actually gets diverted just to fix problems with old technology, stuff we call tech debt.
Wait, hang on. So you're trying to innovate, build the next big thing, but maybe a fifth of your budget for that is just cleaning up old messes.
That's exactly it. It's a direct break on innovation.
That's incredible.
And it's not small scale. Looking bigger picture, CIOs estimate that this tech debt, all those quick fixes, old systems, it can make up 20 to 40% of the entire value of their technology estate.
40%. So like almost half of your tech assets are actually liabilities you're constantly paying down.
Effectively, yes. It paints a pretty stark picture, doesn't it? It's not just some line item on a spreadsheet.
No, it's a real constraint on your ability to move fast, to grow.
It's what the blog calls strategic blindness. And look, it has real consequences. The source mentions that a poor understanding of the tech needed, the IT support required. That's cited as a reason almost half of businesses fail within 5 years.
Half. So it's not always about the market or funding. Sometimes it's the tech foundation just isn't there.
It can absolutely be a major factor, which leads us perfectly into the first big mistake the source dives into, the "we can always add more later" fallacy.
Yeah, the classic startup move, right? Build the minimum viable product on minimal tech, worry about scaling later. Sounds efficient.
It sounds efficient up front, but the source labels it a false economy.
Okay, why? What's the catch?
Well, you end up wasting money. Either you under-provision resources and scramble when things get busy, leading to downtime or bad performance, or you over-provision just in case and pay for cloud resources you're not even using.
Like leaving the lights on in an empty room?
Exactly.
Nay.
Like not snoozing development servers overnight or on weekends. It all adds up. The real cost isn't just adding capacity later. It's the inefficiency, the potential disruption, because you didn't design for scale from the get-go.
So what's the alternative?
Think about Netflix. Their huge move to AWS wasn't some panic reaction when they got popular. No, it was a planned, strategic decision years earlier to build infrastructure that could handle massive scale.
So it was part of the growth plan itself, not an afterthought.
Precisely. Smart companies, they build an elasticity from day one. Their systems can automatically scale up or down. They use monitoring to see what's happening in real time and adjust. They plan for busy seasons or growth spurts right from the start.
Designing for the future you want, not just the present you have. Okay, that makes sense.
And it ties right into the next pitfall, the ROI measurement mirage.
Right. This is the classic boardroom scene, isn't it? The CFO asks, okay, what's the ROI on that new, say, $2 million AI platform? And the tech lead kind of shuffles their feet and says,
Well, it's strategic. We've all heard it, right? And look, the source is fair patient. calculating ROI for software can be genuinely difficult,
Mm-hmm.
especially for things like automation or AI. The benefits aren't always direct revenue.
Yeah, like maybe it improves staff morale or productivity, which is valuable, but hard to put a dollar figure on immediately.
Exactly. But the hard truth, the source says, is that for most growing businesses, tech spending is treated like a black box. Money goes in,
Mm-hmm.
something happens, hopefully good things. But there's no clear proof of value.
And without that proof, it's tough to justify more investment or know where to spend smarter, right?
Totally. You need metrics that actually speak the language of business value. Like, okay, what's the actual cost of downtime caused by human error? Some estimates put that at up to $300,000 an hour.
Wow. Okay, that's a number people listen to.
Or the positive side. Studies show SMBs using cloud effectively. They made 21% more profit, grew 26% faster. But you need to really use it.
What do you mean really use it?
The source suggests you typically need more than 60% of your workload in the cloud to see those big financial gains. It's not just about dipping your toes in.
Got it. So smart companies track different things.
Yeah, they track things like cost per customer served by the tech. Is that going down as you scale? Revenue per tech dollar invested? The actual value of time saved through automation? How much are error rates reduced? And what's the financial impact? Even customer satisfaction scores link directly to tech improvements.
That shifts the whole conversation, doesn't it? From how much does it cost to what value are we creating?
Exactly. And failing to track that value often leads right into mistake number 3, the emergency budget syndrome.
Ah, the reactive approach. You kind of underfund IT, maybe for years because, hey, nothing's obviously on fire.
Right.
Then, boom, security breach, critical system fails. Or maybe a competitor launches some killer feature your old tech just can't handle, and suddenly it's panic stations. Threw all the money at it.
It's the perfect emergency room analogy the source uses. Avoiding checkups feels cheaper until you need that incredibly expensive emergency surgery.
And fixing tech in a crisis costs way more, right?
5 to 10 times more than addressing it proactively. Plus, those rushed fixes, they often create more tech debt, setting you up for the next crisis. It's a vicious cycle.
And the source says this often happens because companies just roll over last year's IT budget, assuming nothing much changes.
Yeah, which is crazy given how fast technology evolves.
Yeah.
Smart companies don't just roll over budgets, they think in investment cycles.
Investment cycles, how does that work?
They might plan specific years for big upgrades, investment years. Then years focused on optimizing what they have, depreciation years maybe,
Right.
and then dedicated innovation years, specifically for exploring new tech. It's a proactive roadmap.
That sounds much more strategic than just adding 3% to last year's number.
It avoids a lot of pain and expense down the road.
Hmm.
Which brings us to another source of unexpected expense. Mistake number 4, the cloud cost explosion.
Oh, I hear this one a lot. You move to the cloud, maybe expecting big savings, and suddenly your bill is double, triple what you thought.
It's super common. The stats are pretty revealing. 58% of businesses report high cloud costs. And now 59% of startups and SMEs are actively changing their cloud setup, trying to get costs down.
So they're trying to fix it. How?
Well, 43% are focused specifically on reducing waste. And a big part of that is something called right sizing.
Rate sizing.
Yeah, basically making sure the cloud resources you're paying for actually match what you need. Not too big, not too small, and turning things off when you don't need them. Continuously optimizing.
So why does the bill explode in the first place if the cloud's supposed to be efficient?
Usually a few key reasons the source highlights. One is the set it and forget it mentality. You spin up a server for a project, the project ends, but the server keeps running forever.
Ouch. Paying for ghosts.
Pretty much. Then there's a lack of visibility. Different teams might be spinning up resources without anyone having a clear overall picture of the spending.
And the third.
No cost accountability. Engineers are, understandably, focused on building cool stuff fast. They're not always thinking about the infrastructure cost implications of their choices. It becomes sort of nobody's job to watch the spending.
Everyone's responsibility is no one's responsibility.
You've got it. There's actually a great story about Cast AI. The founders started the company because they were facing this massive growing cloud bill in their previous venture and got so frustrated they decided to build a solution.
Necessity is the mother of invention, huh? So what's the smart way to manage cloud costs?
You need active management. Real-time cost monitoring with alerts. Know immediately if spending spikes. Use automated scaling so resources shrink or grow with actual demand. Create that cost accountability, track spending by team or project. And do regular right-sizing reviews. Don't just set it and forget it.
Okay, active management, not passive acceptance. Got it. Now, something critical. Mistake number 5. The security afterthought.
Ah, yes. The dangerous thinking, oh, we're just a small business. Who'd bother hacking us?
Yeah, that feels risky.
It's incredibly risky. The reality, 43% of cyber attacks specifically target small businesses, often precisely because they think they're less defended.
So they're actually a prime target.
They can be. Now, the source does note that cybersecurity investment is increasing, 68% plan to up their spending in 2024. It's a top priority overall. But for many growing companies, it's still treated like an optional extra, something you bolt on if there's money left.
An expense, not a fundamental need.
Exactly. And that's a hugely expensive mistake waiting to happen. Look at Equifax back in 2017.
Oh yeah, that was massive.
Massive. Caused by a known vulnerability for which a patch was available for free. They didn't apply it. The cost in penalties alone, $1.4 billion.
Billion from not applying a free patch.
That's the potential cost of inaction. Smart companies bake security in from the start. Budget for the industry average is around 15% of the total IT spend just for cybersecurity.
15%, okay.
And it's not just buying firewalls, it's investing heavily in employee training. Your people are often the first line of defense against things like phishing. It's implementing modern security models like zero trust architecture, basically. Trust nothing, verify everything. And it's planning for compliance costs up front, not scrambling later.
Security as resilience, as trust. Not just an IT department thing. Okay, what's next? Mistake number 6.
Mistake number 6, the AI bandwagon jump.
Ah, the pressure is real here, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Your competitors announce something with AI, the board starts asking questions, marketing wants AI powered on everything.
Totally. And the source says 61% of leaders feel this pressure to adopt AI now, even if they don't really have a clear plan for how it helps their business.
So they jump in without a strategy.
Often, yes. And those investments tend to fail. Look, it's great that developers are using AI tools. 62% use AI code generators, which boost productivity. But just using the tech isn't the same as getting real business value from your AI spending.
So how do you avoid just throwing money at the hype?
Start specific. Find real business problems that AI could actually solve, not just tech demos that look cool. Measure the impact of those initial projects before you think about scaling AI across the whole company.
Prove the value first.
Exactly. And make sure you have the right infrastructure and data ready before you dive in deep. Oh, and critically invest in training, not just for the techies, but for the business users who need to understand how to actually use these new AI tools effectively.
Strategy, infrastructure, proof, training, before scaling. Makes sense. Okay, final mistake, number 7.
Mistake number 7, the "it's not broken, don't fix it" trap.
Oof, that line feels like it could kill companies. Our current system, it works fine. Why change?
Works fine can be so deceptive. It often just means it hasn't completely fallen over yet, but it's costing us in hidden ways.
Hidden ways like?
Well, there's the huge opportunity cost. While you're nursing along that old legacy system, your competitors are building new features, better experiences on modern platforms. They can move faster.
So working fine actually means you're falling behind.
Actively falling behind. Then there are integration costs, trying to connect old clunky systems to new cloud services or APIs. Often incredibly complex, expensive, and fragile.
Yeah, I can see that.
And don't forget talent costs. Trying to find developers who know or even want to work on really old programming languages like COBOL or VB6, it's getting harder and more expensive. Good developers want to work with modern tools.
So your old tech actually makes it harder to hire good people.
It absolutely can. The source uses this striking example of the U.S. government spending $337 million a year just maintaining 10 old legacy federal systems.
$300 million just on maintenance? Imagine using that for innovation instead.
It's the ultimate example of just keeping the lights on, draining the resources needed for progress. Getting by feels okay short-term, maybe, but it limits your future, increases those hidden costs, and just bleeds away money you need for growth.
Okay, so these mistakes are costly. Looking ahead, especially to 2025 budgets, the source has a bit of a reality check.
Yeah, it notes that while 90% of decision makers expect IT spending to go up,
Which sounds good.
right, but the projected global rise is about 5.3%, which might, maybe, just keep pace with inflation.
Ah, so in real terms, budgets might just be standing still, not actually funding much new stuff.
That's the risk. If you're not really strategic about where those extra dollars go, you could actually be falling behind competitors who are investing smartly, even if your total spend goes up slightly.
Which just hammers home why having a proper strategy, a framework, is so vital.
Exactly. And the source points to what leaders do. Netflix and their strategic infrastructure bets. Starbucks using data for everything. Amazon's spending over $1 billion to upskill hundreds of thousands of their own workers in tech. They see this as core.
They're investing in capability, not just systems.
Right. And that leads to a more structured approach for smart companies, often in phases. The source lays out a kind of three-phase framework. Phase 1 is foundation.
Getting your house in order first.
Pretty much. First few months, maybe. Audit your tech debt. Get real visibility into where the money's going now. Define those ROI metrics we talked about. And set up that small emergency fund.
Okay, phase 1, understand reality. Then phase 2.
Optimization. Maybe months, 4 to 6. This is where you actively tackle cloud costs, right-size things, automate manual grunt work, and invest in training your people.
Making things run better. And phase 3.
Growth enablement. Month 7 onwards, really. This is about ensuring your architecture can truly scale, rolling out AI for those proven use cases, boosting security, building better integrations between systems, making tech a growth lever.
Foundation, optimization, growth. That makes sense as a progression. Does this source suggest how to split the budget across these areas?
It gives a kind of best practice allocation, roughly. 40% for infrastructure and operations, keeping the lights on, basically. 25% for software and licenses. 20% for personnel and training, crucial investment there. 10% specifically for innovation and growth.
Dedicating budget just for innovation. That feels key.
And that last 5% for emergency and contingency, to avoid that panic spending we discussed.
Right, planning for the unexpected. So how do you know if this budget is actually working? What should you track?
Key performance indicators, KPIs. You need a mix. Operational ones, system uptime, response times, error rates, is the tech stable?
Yeah.
Financial ones. IT spend as a percentage of revenue, the actual ROI you're getting. Cost per user or transaction doesn't make business sense.
And strategic ones.
Yeah, things like time to market for new features, the health of your innovation pipeline. How is tech helping your competitive position? Are you leading or lagging?
And conversely, what are the big red flags, the danger signs a CEO needs to watch for?
Well, if your IT team spends way more time fixing things than building new things, that's a bad sign. If more than half your tech projects fail because they run over budget or schedule, if you honestly can't answer, what's our cost per customer served by tech? Or if your cloud bill is growing faster than your revenue, that's a big one. Or if system complexity is constantly blamed for project failures, the source says 34% cite this, those are serious warning signs.
Ignoring those sounds, expensive.
Very. The cost of getting this wrong is huge, both short-term and long-term. Short-term, you've got poor cash flow from waste, those expensive emergency fixes, lost productivity when systems are down or slow.
Annoying, but maybe manageable. What about long-term?
That's where it really hurts. Competitive disadvantage, you just can't keep up. Talent flight, good people, leave for better tech elsewhere. Customer churn, your digital experience suffers. And even M&A difficulties. Nobody wants to acquire a business with a massive, tangled tech debt problem.
Okay, so the stakes are high. The source offers an action plan, though, right? Something concrete people can do.
Yeah, it breaks it down into roughly 4 weeks to get started. Week 1, reality check, audit your spending, try to calculate your tech debt, assess cloud efficiency, and importantly, talk to your team what are their tech frustrations.
Week 2, quick wins.
Exactly. Implement some cloud cost monitoring, right-size the most obvious waste, set up that emergency fund, even if it's small to start, and begin tracking ROI for any new initiatives. Get some momentum.
Week 3, strategic planning.
Yep. Align your IT roadmap with business goals. Prioritize investments based on impact. Think about different growth scenarios. Develop clear criteria for choosing vendors.
And week 4.
Implementation setup. Create maybe a cross-functional committee to oversee this. Set up regular budget reviews. Put change management processes in place. Finalize that training budget. Get the structures ready.
4 weeks to build a foundation for smarter tech investment? That feels achievable.
It's about starting. Because the competitive reality, as the source emphasizes, is that right now, while you're listening to this, your competitors are making tech investment decisions. Decisions that will shape who leads the market.
It's happening now.
Absolutely. And time is critical. Companies using the cloud well, they get products to market faster. One study found 65% of optimizers reported faster time to market. That's a huge advantage.
Speed matters.
And innovation matters. Gartner predicts that for every dollar you want to spend on real digital innovation, you'll need to spend even more just modernizing your core systems to support it. You have to modernize, or innovation stalls.
You can't build a skyscraper on shaky foundations.
Exactly. It all boils down to a fundamental mindset shift, moving away from asking, how little can we possibly spend on IT?
Yes.
How can we best invest our technology dollars to create the biggest business impact? Seeing IT not as a cost center, but as a growth engine. Leaving behind, we'll deal with that later for let's build this right now.
So, as that global IT spending heads towards $5.74 trillion, it really feels like growing businesses have a stark choice.
Yeah, you can keep making these common mistakes and essentially burn money, hindering your own growth.
Or you can get strategic, turn those tech dollars into a real, tangible competitive advantage.
The 7 mistakes we covered today, they really are the dividing line between companies that scale successfully using tech to accelerate and those that just get tangled up and stumble.
So the bottom line isn't just about finding cheaper tech options.
Not at all. It's about strategic capital allocation. It's about building compounding advantages over time and avoiding those incredibly costly mistakes that can hold you back for years.
Your technology budget is either powering your growth.
Or it's actively holding it back. There really is no middle ground.
So the question isn't, can you afford to get tech budgeting right?
The real question is, can you afford to get it wrong?
Something for everyone to think about as they look at their own budgets and plans.